It's recap time. I bring you one more recap. Today I'll be explaining an action thriller movie called Beast, released in 2022. The film opens with a group of poachers hunting down a pride of lions deep in an African forest at night by setting up a zebra as bait. When they shoot the entire pride of lions, they realize they've missed the alpha lion, who has now escaped. While the others go to set up another trap, two poachers follow the paw marks of the alpha, which they find larger than the regular lions. By the time they realize the alpha is going to attack them for shooting its pride, the lion has already begun its work by taking down one of them. When the trap-setting poachers hear their screams, they leave one guy behind for a lookout and flee in their truck. The lion shows up and herds the lookout guy towards the trap, in which he gets stuck. As his screams are echoed throughout the forest, the scenes spin towards the film's lead, Dr. Nate, dreaming about his wife's village. He's currently on an airplane with his daughters, Meredith and Nora, on their way from London to a village in Africa for vacation. The second they land, the girls feel the extreme shift in weather and find it hot. They wait for a while until Nate's old buddy Martin arrives in his truck to pick them up. He takes them through their mother's village and tells the girl how their mother was his childhood friend and how he introduced her to Nate. Martin is a biologist and the enforcer of the safari in that area. He takes them to his home, which Nate is amused to find the exact same as he left decades ago. He shows the girls around the house, where the girls discover portraits of their mother, who was also into photography like Meredith. At dinner, a weird discussion ignites, which triggers Meredith to blame Nate for ignoring them and leaving them when their mother got ill and died. Meredith goes after Nora, leaving Nate behind with Martin. The two sit in the house garden, where Nate drinks and admits feeling guilty for leaving his wife in her crucial times of fighting cancer and dying. Martin consoles him, claiming his wife was going to die either way he showed up or not. The next morning, they pack up for a safari trip with Martin. The girls get into the truck while fighting over their hats. On their way, they ignore the bloodied van pushed to the side, where vultures are eating some flesh. Deep into the restricted area, the girls get to see the wildlife. Meredith enjoys photographing giraffes and other wild animals. Martin takes them up in the mountains to a secluded and abandoned school building where he meets up with Banji. Banji supplies them with tranquilizer rifles and a sharp dagger right in front of a pride of lions. While the girls are amazed, yet concerned to have an encounter with the lions this close, Banji assures them that the lions are well fed from their last night's hunt, so they're of no harm. Martin goes to greet his lions, which he personally raised when they were cubs. While petting the lions, Martin notices that one of the lioness' paws has been shot and injured. Martin and Banji blame it on the poachers, so Martin decides to pay a visit to a small village up in the mountains to get any leads on the poachers. When he arrives at the village, he tells the girls to be on their best behavior, since it's not a tourist village. Martin finds it strange when he doesn't find anyone present. Nora becomes fond of a goat and its babies, so she goes after them. Martin immediately calls Nate and tells the girls to gather first. After sending the girls a few steps back, he joins Martin and becomes horrified to find all the villagers attacked and obliterated. When Nate gets back to the girls, he finds Nora gone. When they hear Nora screaming, they go after her and find out she's discovered a dead woman and her cow, brutally mauled. Everyone gets back in the truck. Martin tries to contact Banji through the radio, but the mountains block the signals. While heading back, a nearly dead villager stops them on the road. Martin goes out to find out his story, but he's unable to say anything other than the word devil. Martin hears something in the bushes, so he takes his gun and goes into the bushes. Nate takes the first aid kit out of the truck to save the villager, but he dies on the spot. Meanwhile, Martin reaches the lake and finds a giant paw mark. The lion attacks him from the back, prompting Martin to pull his gun's trigger. When Nate hears the gunshot, he tries going after Nate in the bushes, but the lion comes after him. He runs fast and successfully makes it into his truck, while the lion hits the window hard. It then gets on the truck and tries attacking the girls through a half-opened window, but Nate starts kicking the lion and tells Meredith to drive the truck. The lion mauls Nate's leg, but he manages to kick it away. Meredith crashes the truck into a tree in panic and causes the truck to stop functioning. Nate immediately checks up on his girls to see if they're fine. While the girls panic, he tries making contact on the radio. Shortly after, Martin contacts Nate through the walkie-talkies and tells him about his encounter. He claims to be losing a lot of blood, so Nate tells him to use his lighter to warm up his knife and seal his wounds by putting the piping hot knife on them. When Martin screams during the process, Nate realizes Martin is close by, so he decides to go and save Martin, but Martin alerts him to the lion who's right in front of Martin, using him as bait to lure Nate and his daughters. Meredith reminds Nate of the tranquilizer guns they got from Banji. Unfortunately, the gun case is inside a locked box. Nate finds a metal bar and uses it to break open the lock. When they open the case, they find the tranquilizer rifle unassembled. Thankfully, Meredith had seen Banji assemble it earlier, so she helps Nate reassemble it. Simultaneously, Martin alerts Nate on the walkie-talkie about the lion wandering off. He advises him to get to an elevated area to spot where the lion is hiding. Nate takes the rifle, opens the roof, and climbs up the truck's roof to spot the lion. Martin helps Nate locate any moving shadows, which is the key to tracing the lion in hiding. At a distance, Nate spots some deer running away, so he figures the lion is close by. When Nate asks the girls to ask Martin about where he is hiding, he tells them to look over the hunter's blind, which Nate doesn't understand. Lucky for Meredith, she spots the place and runs out of the truck to help Martin without a single thought of being in danger. At the same time, Meredith sees the lion standing over the boulder behind Nate's back. She immediately alerts Nate and runs away. By the time Nate tries to shoot the tranquilizer, the lion attacks him and throws him off the truck. Nate loses the rifle by mistake and runs under the truck, where the lion's face keeps getting stuck. Nate keeps pushing it back by kicking its face. Nora also becomes terrified inside the truck alone. The lion pretends to go away, but when Nate comes out to grab the tranquilizer, the lion comes back to attack him, but he dodges it. When the lion is trying to maul Nate under the truck, Nora shows courage by rolling down the window and poking the tranquilizer dart onto the lion with her hands. The lion slows down and runs away. Nate contacts Meredith and finds out she saved Martin and is bringing him back. Once they return, Nate tends to his wounds in the truck. Additionally, the lion's tranquilizer wears off sooner than they anticipated, and it keeps roaming around the area. As the night falls, they decide to stay inside the truck and survive on the few sips of water left in the truck while finding out a way to contact someone for help. While asleep, Nate dreams about the rogue lion chasing after his girls, so he expresses his affection and guilt to Meredith for not being there for their mother when she needed him. Through the walkie-talkie, the group soon hears a voice alerting them to their location. The group is discovered by poachers, who, upon realizing that Martin is an anti-poacher who killed some of their guys, turn their guns on them. When they hear the snarling of the rogue beast, the beat attacks the poachers and obliterates them. Nate gets the girls to safety first and decides to steal the poacher's van. So Nate sets out to locate the keys to the van. Martin helps the girls into the van before the beast gets to them. When the lion tries to break through the window it damaged earlier, Martin shoves the lion down the hill along with the van. As the lion tries to grab Martin, he notices that gas is seeping and lights it, lighting the lion on fire and blowing up the van and himself. In the meantime, Nate comes back with the car key and found his daughters alive. As dawn breaks, Nate continues to drive the girls toward their camp, but he makes a halt at an abandoned structure in an attempt to provide Meredith with medical attention because the lion had injured her. The girls are kept hidden by Nate while the now severely burned lion appears. Struck with an idea, Nate begins to make noise in an attempt to attract the lion's attention. Nate dashes into the field, which is also the location where Martin showed them the lion pride. After that, Nate engages in one-on-one combat with the lion, striking and stabbing it as it tries to bite him. The other lions in pride pursue the rogue lion and subdue it before shredding it to pieces just as he is about to die from his wounds. After that, Nate faints and has a vision of his wife, who appears to be prepared to die with her, but he regains consciousness in the hospital with his daughters by his side. They praise him for foreseeing that the other lions would slay the evildoer and save them. Additionally, they inform him that Banji saved them. As the family continues their vacation, they stop by a tree to capture a photo of a large flock of birds taking off and recognize that it's the same tree where their mother once photographed herself in her youth. Here, the movie ends. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please comment down on what you liked about this movie and what scene you liked, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.